Neal Pollack.
I was invited by the John Adams Institute of Amsterdam to be the American representative at Dutch National Poetry Day. This is a true story. An annual celebration. Because I'd never actually published a poem in English, I was a somewhat odd selection for this honor. Also, as part of the National Poetry Day celebration, I and the other participants had each been assigned to write a fable and to teach a workshop about fables to a class of high school students. I hadn't written a fable since I was 8 years old, and it showed. In a couple of hours, I slapped out a lame animal parable about tolerance based on the recent assassination of Dutch prime ministerial candidate Pim Fortuyn, about whom I knew nothing, and still don't. Then I taught my class and chose, as the organizers had instructed me to, the best student from the class to give a presentation that evening. My student would compete against the other students from the other classes, and if she won, she'd receive a prize. Up until 15 minutes after my lecture ended, I was sober. As I walked out into the late afternoon, I had 3 hours before I had to present my poetry in a public performance. Now I decided would be the perfect time to get high. Amsterdam's coffee shops held no mystery for me. I'd visited many times and knew all the neighborhood spots, not just the places for Australian backpackers, because I'm so different than they are. Since I basically did nothing else when I was in Amsterdam, I'd more or less memorized a stoner's walking tour that would be the envy of the most experienced cannabis cup judge. To my right, I saw one of Amsterdam's many smart shops. These are less famous than the coffee shops, but their wares are more powerful, more obscure, and just as quasi-legal. I walked in, briefly pondered a display of homegrown peyote, bought a packet of some sort, and swallowed 2 pills with a gulp of water. By the time I arrived at the venue, my lips felt like sausages. Oscar gave me a conspiratorial grin. "How are you feeling?" he said. I couldn't tell him that at the moment, I was imagining that my eyes had popped out of their sockets, shot forward 10 feet, attached by thin ligaments, wrapped themselves around my head, and reinserted themselves in new sockets that had opened up just above my eyebrows. When the poet laureate of Holland cut his reading short because he had a train to catch, the MC introduced me as our distinguished American visitor. A film of dripping sweat plagued my entire body. When I got to the podium, I was hot. "Good evening, people of the Netherlands," I said. "My name is Neal Pollack, and I am the greatest living American writer." With that, I lifted a pitcher of water off the podium and dumped it over my head.